Picture this. It's October 1928, and we are right in the middle of the chaotic streets of Lahore. A massive, completely peaceful protest is marching against the Simon Commission. Now, this was a British-appointed committee sent to report on India's political future. But get this, it didn't include a single Indian member. You can imagine the tension in the air. It's palpable. And then, suddenly, that peaceful march is met with a brutal police lathi or baton charge led by Superintendent James A. Scott. The protesters are being beaten, and leading them right at the front is one of India's most prominent figures, who takes severe, deliberate blows straight to the chest.
But here is the truly incredible part. Despite being severely, literally, fatally injured in that very assault, Lala Lajpat Rai completely refused to back down. He actually stood before a massive crowd at Mochi Gate that exact same evening and delivered this chilling prophecy. He didn't focus on his own pain, He spoke directly about the end of an empire.
Section 1. The Lion's Final Stand. Punjab Kesari.
Section 2. Awakening a Patriot. Early Life and Education. So, let's back up and look at where this kind of unbreakable spirit comes from. Born in 1865 in the small village of Dudaike, his parents, a scholar father and a deeply compassionate mother, really instilled in him a profound moral character and a fierce love for education. He actually started out as a highly successful lawyer, but, driven by this deep concern for social injustice, he eventually just walked away from that lucrative legal career. He decided to dedicate his life entirely to public service and the freedom struggle through the Indian National Congress.
Section 3. The Lal-Bal-Pal Trio, a unified front.
Now, Lala Lajpat Rai certainly didn't act alone. He joined forces with Bal Gangadhar Tilak in the west and Bipin Chandrapal in the east. Together, they were known as the Lal-Bal-Pal Trio, and they absolutely fundamentally changed the political discourse of the entire country. They basically united this massive, geographically diverse subcontinent under one shared radical vision. They championed Swadeshi, meaning the use of indigenous goods, and called for the total boycott of foreign British products. It was a brilliant move, hitting the colonial power right in its economic heart.
Together, this trio awakened the national consciousness and inspired millions to demand Swaraj, which means self-rule or self-government. They totally shifted the conversation. Instead of just asking the British for minor political concessions, they demanded complete self-rule. They proved to everyday people that a united India was more than capable of governing itself without any foreign interference.
Section 4. Education and Social Reform, Building the Nation.
He had a knack for breaking down really complex political philosophy into these deeply held, practical teachings. Heavily influenced by the Arya Samaj movement, he realized something absolutely crucial. Social reform had to accompany political freedom. He taught that true patriotism requires real personal sacrifice and that national unity must always rise above religious and regional differences. He firmly believed that a society weighed down by illiteracy, caste discrimination, and poverty could never truly be free, even if the British packed up and left tomorrow.
Believing that education was the absolute greatest weapon for national progress, he poured so much of his energy into the Dayanand Anglo-Vedic, or DAV movement. He helped establish schools, colleges, and libraries all across the country. And his goal wasn't just to turn out students who could pass exams. No, he wanted to forge strong, responsible, socially aware citizens who had a modern education but were still firmly rooted in traditional Indian values.
Section 5. Global Voice for Freedom, International Advocacy.
The British Raj obviously saw him as a massive threat and tried everything to silence him at home. They deported him to Mandalay in Burma without sufficient evidence, and then they blacklisted his passport to trap him abroad during World War I. But he completely flipped the script on them. He used his time stranded in the United States to tour the country, going all the way from the Western Seaboard to Tuskegee University in Alabama. He founded the Indian Home Rule League in New York, and even studied sociological parallels between race in the U.S. and the caste system in India, drawing inspiration from African-American intellectuals like W.E.B. Du Bois. He literally turned his exile into a massive international awareness campaign.
32. That is the staggering number of pages in a petition he prepared literally overnight for the U.S. House Committee on Foreign Affairs in 1917. The man was relentless. He used this massive document to seek international support by vividly exposing the harsh realities of British colonial administration to the American government, arguing incredibly passionately for India's right to independence.
Section 6. Legacy of a Martyr. The Final Stand.
Tragically, just weeks after being brutally beaten by police during those Simon Commission protests, Lala Lajpat Rai succumbed to his injuries on November 17, 1928. Now, his doctors firmly believe the police blows hastened his death, but the British government? When questioned in the UK Parliament, they officially denied having any role whatsoever in the tragedy. Talk about a massive miscalculation. That historical denial basically poured gasoline on a brewing rebellion.
His martyrdom had a direct explosive ripple effect. The brutal assault was witnessed firsthand by a new generation of youth activists, including the young revolutionary Bhagat Singh and his associates in the Naujwan Bharat Sabha. Seeing their revered line of Punjab struck down like that, they swore retribution. This single event fundamentally shifted the tactics of the entire independence movement, instantly radicalizing these younger factions who plotted to avenge his death and pushing the struggle into a far more militant phase.
But beyond the politics and the radicalized youth and the protests, his legacy lives on in incredibly tangible ways today. He's revered forever as the Punjab Kesari. In memory of his mother, he actually laid the groundwork for the Gulab Devi Tuberculosis Hospital, which opened in 1934 and is still a major medical facility right now. He founded the Servants of the People Society back in 1921 to continue community welfare. Through his prolific writings, his educational institutions, and his fearless leadership, the undeniable reality is that his ultimate sacrifice was, exactly as he predicted, the final nail in the coffin of colonial rule.
So, it leaves us with this thought. When we see people today fighting for basic education, pushing back against discrimination, or standing firm against overwhelming power, we really have to ask ourselves how much of that courage is an echo of Lala Lajpat Rai. His pursuit of justice wasn't just for 1928, you know? It was a blueprint for the modern world. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.